setting up company in China, right? It changed a lot over the past decade or two, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of experiences, some crazy ones. Fernando,
I've
I'm
had
sure
4
you have.
companies, yeah.
And so it changed a lot. Today it became much easier, right?
Right. It became much easier since about 8 years ago, because when I just started my career in Dongguan in 20 years ago, at that time, for example, if you want to set up a WOFE, this foreign-owned, wholly foreign-owned enterprise, the capital needs to be at least $1 million for. Yeah,
because it was based on manufacturing.
Correct,
right?
Correct. And also mainly at that time, the WOFE is manufacturing company, not so many trading the trading business actually started later, not at that time. Started later from 2008.
But also the trading companies could get away with having a rep office, right? A representative office, which is different than a company, fully
What
fledged.
is that exactly? So that the people understand is you would set a company, for example, in Hong Kong, which is a lot easier. You could go and buy companies off the shelf, companies that have already been established, and they're just there waiting for somebody to come and buy them.
Or you can even do it over a company that you already have in the US or wherever.
And then you would just set up a representative office of that company. Some of the caveats about those is that they were not allowed to
issue FAPIAs
and to earn money.
So basically, they
non-profitable, non-operational entity, and no profit, no sales, just a backup service.
Representing another company from
and that's what a lot
country.
of people were doing to get work visas. So they would set up a company in Hong Kong, open a representative office, and get a work visa, even though they were not generating any income from there.
But still, about setting up companies, I do want to say about what you just mentioned, right? I always think like people, some people want to move to China. I think it's going to happen more and more, right? Yeah. And I think, is it correct that one of the ways to do that is to come and open a company?
Yeah.
And start a company and then give yourself a visa. I mean, of course, you need to have some idea, business,
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe because I'm here for very long, it sounds like it's easier to just open a company here than I'm going to the US and opening a company. At least it's much cheaper.
Right.
Much cheaper.
Especially now, because to open a company, there's no barrier such as capital limit. So usually we would just...
Really? You
can just open a
barrier.
company.
No barrier to set up a company. And also it's very easy to set up a company through an individual foreigner's name. No need must to be a
Chinese
foreign company. And also no need must be a Chinese. Yeah, an individual foreigner can set up a company easily here now.
Right, so...
I need your number.
Yeah.
So basically... So basically, if you're like a freelancer, a graphic designer, and you're in the US now, and the situation is not very good, right? And you're thinking of moving to China, you could come and without too much capital, set up a company, start finding clients, right? And
right, and also
and stay and work legally. Sorry.
Yeah, and work legally.
Work legally, right.
And how much, to open a company, let's just say how much it may cost. You may pay, I think, 10,000 to 20,000 fees for the service of helping you doing that, right? Stuff like that, which is what, $2,000-3,000 US, right?
No, it's about 20. We usually for WOFE setup, we charge 20,000.
Which is $3,000 US.
Wait, 20,000 US dollars?
This is just a startup.
20,000 US dollars or 20,000 renminbi?
Renminbi. It's renminbi. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So 20,000 renminbi to set up the company, and you can probably find it cheaper, but maybe they will not speak English with you like Cathy does, right? So you may have other issues there. But what I'm saying is that it's not very difficult. It's very achievable. You want to move to China? One of the ways, come and open a company and start your business and give yourself a visa the right way, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a person who believes in the ability to generate your own income, this is the way to do it. For example, if you're a YouTuber, let's say I wanted to become a YouTuber, I could set up a company and then I'll be able to work here legally.
Cathy, want to talk a bit more about company setups, right? Before I mentioned like a graphic designer in the US coming to China, one way to do it is just come here, open a company, give yourself visa. What's the options for this kind of person, and what would they need in order to open a company?
Okay. Now it's very simple. They need to decide who is going to be the shareholder. For the shareholders, they can just be themselves as individual person, or they can use overseas company. Next, decide who is going to be the legal representative. It's like a general manager, and this person's name is going to be shown on the business license. And the third point, you need an office.
Right.
But this office can be a virtual one with a very small space. You needn't go there to work. Or if you really need an office, you just rent a physical office.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are the other things you need to hire an employee, right?
And through this company, you can hire employees.
Do you have to hire employees?
No, not necessarily.
But you need to be the employee. Also. There is one employee that is necessary or not?
No. Not.
It used to be?
Employees is not necessary. Yeah, you can have, or you must have. Yeah.
And then what do I need to consider to be running the company's monthly necessary things I have to do? Like I have to do accounting.
Yeah, accounting and tax declaration. Even in China, the tax declaration usually is monthly, and also they are quarterly declaration and annual declaration. You need to maintain that. Even the company, for example, even in the beginning, for several months, the company is not going to have any income. You still need to do zero tax declaration.
I heard that there are a lot of accounting companies like yours that actually offer a whole package.
Yeah.
Basically, they contact you or they contact this person and they're a one-stop solution. They help you set up the company and they offer you the accounting services afterwards. It couldn't be easier than that.
Right. This is also what basically we are doing. We are doing this kind of one-stop service from company setup to the monthly accounting, tax maintenance, and also for the general consulting.
Right. Now, I would say that years ago, probably now still, many foreigners open companies on a Chinese shareholder names.
Yeah.
I also had a story like this in the past, right? And I had trouble because of that. And many people had trouble, but some people didn't. They did it, I guess, because it was easier to open a Chinese company on a Chinese name. Right?
Yes, it was what we were talking earlier about the limits of money. It was different for foreigners and Chinese.
But it's still more expensive to open a foreign-owned company today. It's just the difference is smaller. Is that correct?
Yes, the difference is very smaller. It's very as the process generally is the same.
What would be the cheapest company I could set up if I'm a foreigner thinking of coming to China?
If you want to set up under your own name, you can only set up WOFE, this wholly foreign-owned enterprise. And I really do not recommend rep office. Representative office under overseas company, because this structure has now is proved to be very complicated to set up and also complicated to maintain it. For example, every year you need to have the mother company's business license notarized abroad and bring here for the annual inspection. For this process actually is very time consuming and it costs a lot.
And limited also what you can do.
Yeah.
What about if you're married?
Sorry, so the cheapest would be opening a WOFE.
Open a WOFE.
As an individual,
as an individual.
Office.
What
would be the cost? You mentioned 20,000 for the service, but the minimum capital investment would be what? Can it be zero?
It can be zero, but usually we don't really recommend zero because for a company, when you start up, at least you need some operating funds.
Sure.
So we would like to recommend 100,000 renminbi as a capital. But nowadays, you even needn't really put in this money in the beginning. You can have 20 years to put the money into the company account.
A capital account, a special
Yes,
one.
a capital account. And this money, you're not going to lose this money. You just need to show, okay, I have this money, the money transfer from abroad to China, and then you can use the money to pay your expenses.
Honestly, it sounds meaningless now that like 20
Right.
years you have it. It feels
But,
like
okay.
they may stop that too as well.
But the
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
needs to come from abroad. I mean, if a person is already here and was working for a company before
Yeah.
and decides to become an independent person, so I'm gonna set up my company, but they don't have money abroad, can they do it?
They can do it.
You have 20 years.
They can do it,
Yeah, but she mentioned that the money has to come from abroad.
You can.
According to the current policy, yes, the money needs to come abroad, but you still have 20 years to do this to meet with the obligation. So also I would estimate that this kind of regulation, money must come from abroad. This regulation also may change in the future.
Right, it's starting to not
Why
make
does
sense.
regulations change? I love China and I like
Yeah.
to talk about the things. China is constantly changing. Why does it change? Because people say, hey, this is not working for us. Hey, this needs to be better. Hey, this needs to be
Change is slow.
improved.
Slow, but it's
Yeah,
changing.
but it changes.
yeah.
So
Right.
the government listens to the things that people need and they do it.
And also, we have checked before, is it possible that for foreigners to use their money they earned in China to pay this capital? But now the answer is still not so clear. But I'm sure that in the future, because the money you earned in China, you have paid tax on
Yes.
it. It's the money under sunshine, so there's nothing to hide. So I'm sure there will be a way in the future you can do that kind of capital injection directly from China to
I
China.
love that term.
What about if I'm married with a Chinese and I want to open a company? Would you recommend doing it on the Chinese wife name? Or the opposite, or the Chinese husband's name?
This depends. Because for Chinese, they have another option. Besides limited company, they can set up a small entity. This small entity is unlimited entity. In Chinese, it's called 个体户 or 个人独资企业. Maybe you don't understand
What does
this
it mean?
word, but this means the sole individual invested enterprise.
Okay.
So this is unlimited. Why I mentioned this kind of entity, because the tax structure for this small entity is more tax efficient,
Okay.
and also it's legal. It's legal.
And a foreigner cannot open that.
Foreigner cannot. But if this foreign if this woofy company is under some sales scale, it's still tax efficient, no problem.